Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing amazing today. In this video, we're diving into the latest updates about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. You don't want to miss this. So make sure to stay tuned till the end, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The fluorescent lights of the intensive care unit flickered softly, the hum of machines filling the sterile air with a rhythm that didn't belong to human life. Kelly Ripa stood alone in the corridor outside room 214, her hands trembling despite the warmth of the coffee cup she had forgotten she was holding. Hours had passed, maybe more. Time inside hospitals always stretched, bending into shapes that made minutes feel like months. Inside that room, behind a glass panel fogged from the difference in temperature, lay Mark Consuelos, unconscious, surrounded by technological guardians that breathed, monitored, and hummed in mechanical conversation. A ventilator kept time like a metronome. The heart monitor scribbled silent green lines across a glowing screen. Kelly swallowed hard. No audience, no cameras, no witty banter or playful studio charm. Just a wife facing the most fragile moment of her life. A sudden collapse. Just 24 hours earlier, the world had been perfectly ordinary. She and Mark were at home in their New York apartment, joking about dinner as they unpacked takeout bags. Mark had been extra quiet, pressing occasionally at his chest, dismissing discomfort as just stress. Until the glass of water slipped from his hand. Until his knees buckled. Until Kelly dropped to the floor beside him, screaming his name while dialing 911 with trembling fingers. She remembered his last words before losing consciousness. "Kel, don't be scared." But she was terrified, truly, profoundly terrified. ICU silence. Now she stood frozen in that corridor, her eyes burning from sleeplessness. Nurses moved efficiently around her, doors opened and shut, and metal wheels clicked on tiles, but Kelly heard none of it. The world had narrowed into a tunnel leading only to that hospital bed. A doctor approached quietly, a folder in his hand. "Mrs. Consuelos," he said gently, "you can sit with him if you'd like. He's stable for now." Stable. A word that comforted and horrified at the same time. Kelly nodded, unable to speak, and pushed the door open. A moment alone. Mark lay pale beneath the crisp white sheets, his dark hair messy as if he had been running instead of collapsing. Kelly pulled up a chair and sank into it, her elbows on her knees, hands covering her face. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered to the silence. "I don't know how to sit here and wait." She glanced at the monitor. Beep. Beep, beep. Each one was a reminder, even when his voice couldn't reassure her, he was still here. "Mark," she said softly, reaching for his hand. His skin was warm, but limp, as though he were simply sleeping. "You know, you're supposed to be the one telling the funny stories right now. I'm terrible at waiting quietly." A weak attempt at humor, but humor was how they'd gotten through everything. Raising children, bad scripts, grueling schedules, the chaos of morning television, and the world's relentless opinions. But this was different. This wasn't a commitment you could reschedule. A flood of memories. She leaned back, closing her eyes, and memories rose like film clips spliced together. Mark is the charming actor who stole the scene, and her heart, on the set of All My Children. Their whispered vows said so privately that even the priest had smiled at how emotional they were. The years of balancing diapers and cue cards, trying to remember who needed lunch packed and who had a chemistry test. Christmas lights tangled while Mark insisted he knew exactly what he was doing, despite evidence otherwise. And the laughter. Always the laughter. Kelly opened her eyes again. The plaintive beep of the monitor grounded her. "I can't lose you," she whispered, voice cracking. "Not today. Not yet." Their children arrived. The door opened softly. "Mom." It was Michael, their eldest, shoulders stiff, trying to be strong but his eyes betraying fear. Lola and Joaquin followed closely behind, each carrying the weight of helplessness. Kelly immediately stood, gathering them into her arms. The four stood in a knot of shared grief and hope, bound by the uncertain fate of the man who made holidays chaotic and Sunday breakfasts unforgettable. "He's stable," Kelly managed. "Doctors say the next 24 hours are important." They approached the bedside together. Joaquin placed a hand on Mark's arm. "Dad," he said quietly, voice shaking, "we're here. And you still owe me that cooking lesson you promised." Lola let out a teary laugh. That lesson was going to be a disaster. Kelly smiled weakly. Even in pain, their family never lost the thread of humor. A private ICU moment. As the evening advanced, the children left to rest, but Kelly remained. She sat close, holding Mark's hand in both of hers, cheek pressed to the back of it. "Mark," she murmured, voice raw, "I realized something tonight. You're my anchor. Even when I'm the loud one on television and you're the calm one on the side, you've always been my center." Tears slid silently down her face. "When you fell, I didn't think. I just panicked. But I realized something on the floor of our kitchen. I've built my entire world on the sound of your heartbeat." The monitor continued its steady rhythm, answering her the only way it could. She wiped her eyes and leaned forward. "And if you promise to fight, really fight, I swear I'll slow down. I'll breathe more. I'll complain less. I'll let you have the last slice of pizza even when I'm hungry." She laughed through tears. "But you have to stay. That's the deal." Hours passed. Nurses slipped in and out, adjusting machines and checking vitals. At 3:17 a.m., Kelly noticed something different. His finger twitched. The smallest movement, but like an earthquake in her chest. She leaned in instantly. "Mark? Mark, can you hear me?" His eyelids fluttered the way someone might stir from a heavy sleep. A nurse rushed in, checking readings and calling another staff member. Kelly's hand flew to her mouth. "Come on," she whispered. "Come back to me." The green lines on the monitor maintained their pace, but something intangible shifted in the room, the subtle gravity of hope returning. Slowly, Mark's eyes opened. Not fully, not clearly, but undeniably. Kelly choked on a sob. "You scared me." He blinked lazily for several seconds, eyes unfocused, before he managed a breathy whisper through the ventilator tubes. "Kel." Just her name. But to her, it was the most beautiful sound she had ever heard. She stood quickly, pressing a trembling kiss to his forehead. "I'm here," she whispered, "and you're not going anywhere." Doctors confirmed the moment. Two physicians entered soon after, reviewing his vitals and exchanging looks that were cautiously optimistic. "He's responding," one said. "This is a positive sign. We'll monitor closely, but this is very encouraging." Kelly nodded, unable to answer without dissolving. She turned back to Mark, brushing his hair from his forehead. Heart to heart. As his awareness increased, she leaned close, speaking softly where only he could hear. "I thought today might be the day I'd have to face the world without you," she said. "But the universe gave us another chance, and I won't waste it." Mark closed his eyes, but his fingers tightened weakly around hers. No words needed. Love had its own language. Dawn breaks. By the time morning light spilled into the room through thin hospital curtains, Kelly had moved her chair so close that her head rested beside Mark's arm. She hadn't slept, but she felt stronger than she had in 24 hours. A nurse entered with a quiet smile. "He's doing well," she said softly. "You can relax a little." Kelly looked at Mark's face, calmer now, breathing easier. "I will," she whispered, "but not too much. I know him. He'll try to leave this hospital before lunch if someone turns their back." The nurse laughed. "Then we'll keep an eye on him together." A promise renewed. Kelly took Mark's hand again. "You once told me we had the kind of marriage that can survive anything," she whispered. "Well, life just threw us the biggest test yet, and we're still here." Outside, the city was waking. Traffic honked. Newspapers hit sidewalks. Coffee carts rolled onto corners. Life continued. And so did they. In that ICU room, more sacred than any studio, set, or stage, Kelly made herself one final silent promise. Every sunrise from here on would matter more. Every laugh would count double. Every ordinary meal, movie night, walk, and argument would be a gift. Because nothing, not fame, not ratings, not success, was more precious than the simple miracle of Mark breathing beside her. And as the morning settled gently over the hospital, Kelly Ripa exhaled for the first time in what felt like forever, knowing that love, imperfect, beautiful, stubborn love, had carried them through the darkest hours and into the light. Stay tuned for all the updates about Kelly Ripa. We are the first to publish all the information about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, so stay with us to get all the latest updates. And stay tuned to our USA Daily Drop for all updates.